This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
And there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
World.
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the wildest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks, how would we react to the same events if they had transpired today? I'm Sarah Sahagian.
I'm Sadaf Hassan, and this week is another hot off the press. That's when we do a mini-sode that discusses the craziest headlines we can't get over. Let's run through a couple quickies first. Okay, Sarah, here's what I've got for you. It's a little morose to start off. Actor Michael Madsen, who you probably know best from Kill Bill, passed this week at 67 years old from cardiac arrest at his home in California. It's too young to go, but he does have some good work left behind. Please get on Kill Bill, people, if you haven't already. It's incredible. Next up, I'm going to keep it a little dark, okay? Lily Allen got lambasted in the news this week for saying she can't remember how many abortions she's had. To me, that is an ally. Go you, Lily. Normalize abortions. It's fine. And also, she was probably joking, I feel like, and being exaggerated.
She later says it's like 5, that she's pretty sure it's 5. Also, you know what? There's so many things that years later you can't 100% remember. Like, it's just part of the aging process. Like, I can't remember the names of the profs I had in undergrad. I can't remember the names of, I feel like there are 1 or 2 boyfriends I've had that I'm like not certain what their last name is.
Oh, sure. And I assume after you had a couple abortions, what's another 3?
Absolutely.
Okay, a little more negative, but less dark. If you're a Last of Us star, this news has been shockingly very big this week. You're probably very upset about the news that creator and showrunner Neil Druckmann is leaving the series to focus on his video game studio, the same one that's actually behind the Last of Us franchise. In other words, it's very lucrative. It's doing very well. Now, here's the thing. Season 2 just wrapped up. This is before season 3 starts up, and just as ratings dropped for season 2, in which, spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, a favorite and popular character was killed off, and a lot of fans are very, very, very upset. Even though technically these spoilers exist in the video game, it's got people feeling like he's running a little bit before the show totally tanks. Sarah, do you have any thoughts on this? Any thoughts on the aforementioned? What you feeling?
No, I think if you leave your show when the ratings are tanking, yeah, that's a business decision. And I don't even judge him for it, because was he in it for the art or for the money? If he's in it for the money, then video games are where the money's at, and especially in media now. And video games, listen, they can be a form of art. Sometimes video games are not very good, and I think are just designed to get children addicted. So I have a lot of critiques of the video game industry.
And some grown men.
There are literal video game rehabilitation programs. CAMH in Toronto, a mental health facility, has one now. So
wow.
When people just sort of in this very facile way say video games are art, I do kind of push back, because I'm not addicted to going to the art gallery. I enjoy it, but it's not designed to be like addictive. Like I have to do it or I'm going to freak out and not be able to function. Right. So I actually kind of push back on that a little bit. They can be art, and the ones that are designed as art are actually not as addictive, right? They're not designed to be as addictive. Most games by Annapurna, which is Megan Ellison, I think was co-founded by, that is Megan Ellison's company, and she does video games. And those are quite good, and they have a story, and they're very resonant. But anyway, so that's a tangent about how I think video games can actually really be destructive and hurt children and adults. But if this is a business decision, this is a good financial decision for him. It's just going to get richer and richer. I mean, I guess good for him.
Also, let's be real. He's still going to get a producer credit because he created it. So he's perfectly fine. And showrunning is a lot of work. A lot of times showrunners leave after even the first season, a couple in. It's not that crazy. I'm assuming he's still going to have a little input. It's not the end of the world. But if you know how the video games go, it's sounding like it might not be everybody's cup of tea. But maybe that's also a lot to be said for how video games get adapted into TV shows. It's just not the same. This one started off with so much excitement and joy, I think also because of Pedro Pascal being such a big part of it. Now knowing that Bella Ramsey is going to be a little more central has a lot of people feeling away, but we love Bella Ramsey. She's fantastic. She was one of the best parts of Game of Thrones. I don't know. I abandoned the show after the first few episodes, so don't ask me. Also though, Sarah, just to go back to what you were saying, I love the idea of an art addict. How bougie.
I mean, yes, if you're going to be addicted to something, be addicted to going to art galleries. That's great.
If only we all could.
If only we all could. But they are importantly not designed to make it so that you are so addicted you won't sleep or eat or do your job. So
yes, I carry on with my TikTok addiction. Yeah.
Exactly. Like video game companies hire psychologists, so people with PhDs, to make their games more addictive.
That's incredible. I did not know that. Wow.
The game industry is the new tobacco industry.
Okay, time to dive into our first big headline. We got to talk about Diddy. I'm sorry, guys. We got to do it. We're going to do a full episode at some point, but for now, we're going to catch you up on the big news of the week. Incredibly frustrating breaking news. We got a verdict. He's been convicted on prostitution-related offenses, but acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering, which feels really ironic. Of course, he's already got tons of fans saying this is great news, and they're happy to have him back. These people were camped outside the court. They've been all over social. It's been insufferable, honestly. To me, it's yet another damning case, putting women like Cassie, who are brave enough to speak up, in a position where maybe they won't do that again now. And for the record, he may serve up to 10 years in prison, but pundits are saying he probably won't even serve anything. It's pretty unreal. I really didn't think it would go this way. Maybe I was being too optimistic. Reminder, this is the same man who set Kid Cudi's car on fire for dating Cassie, and that's in those court documents. He's admitting to it. He's also heavily rumored to be behind Tupac and Biggie's deaths. Allegedly. Heavy on the allegedly, but I believe it. But heavy on allegedly. It's like we're putting a rewind on Me Too. Sarah, how do you feel about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on when you said it's like a rewind on Me Too.
Yeah.
I think that we have lost a lot of the gains. And listen, not we all, because he has defenders, but I appreciate what the brave women who accused him did. That is really courageous. And thank you for bringing this to light. We completely admire and respect that. And I hope that those people have all the support that they deserve. I hope Cassie has support. I hope all of the victims have support. It's not surprising. I mean, the gains of Me Too, I think were always a little dubious, right?
Yeah.
And they were never really secured. I think there was a time when a lot of men were paying lip service to this issue and pretending they agreed with it. But that lasted for about 6 months, and it didn't even lead to any lasting change at all or any meaningful policy change.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to understand, like I saw, it was a male comedian, he opened for Pete Davidson, his name escapes me, where he was like, he was talking just about his life as a Latinx man, and he was just like, it was very confusing. He was saying like it was very confusing when racism against Latino people kind of, for him, he felt was confusing when it picked up, because he's like, I'd always thought that America hated women the most. And it's like, holistically, America really hates women. Like, if you look at everything that they're doing, whether it's this or reproductive rights, America hates women. Racialized women in particular are vulnerable. Obviously, there are differences in privilege. I do think America as a whole just blanket hates women, but there are certain women who are even more marginalized. So it's not great, but I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
I'd say was a little bit, but I think I was being naive. I think I got caught up in it all. I thought that there were so many people who were speaking up against him, especially Cassie, who really went on a limb here. I mean, if you go back and, trigger warning, of course, but there was an infamous video that I believe was leaked by TMZ a few months ago where attacking her in a hotel lobby. And it is one of the most disturbing things I've seen. And I just can't grasp how we can see a video like that. And it's very clear who's in the video and what's happening. And that man probably isn't going to do any jail time. Like, I don't know. And I read a lot of the court testimonies, which I shouldn't have because a lot of it is really disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
So knowing a lot of what happened and that this man is going to go free, I get why people become conspiracy theorists. It's just so mind-boggling. And, he's a massive Hollywood figure. He has been for years and years. And I thought because of that, because there's so much to this, that he could be toppled. But now that he hasn't been, I fear that even people who are way beneath him will be able to get away with even more. Like, that is the turning point, right?
And then people won't come forward, right? It
won't come
matter
forward.
when you see this where, think about how much evidence they had and it didn't result in the outcome they were hoping for. It is disheartening and it makes you think, like, why would I ever come forward, right? Why would I do that? So it's very upsetting. And and anyone who says that this couldn't happen in Canada, I just want to remind everyone of what happened with Jian Ghomeshi, right? There was also a lot of evidence. Jian Ghomeshi is now, I believe, living in New York and free.
He's doing just fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it could happen here too. I mean, I have friends who've gone through rape trials and their rapist has been acquitted. And so this happens everywhere. And it is upsetting. It is disheartening, but it shows, like, we still need feminism. Feminism has not won.
It hasn't. And I feel like a lot of people are turning on it. And that makes me really sad. And you kind of touched on this before, but who didn't really speak up much during Me Too? Men. And men are still not speaking up. And dare I say, a lot of the people who are supporting Diddy are men. It's very sad to see. And my only other note to all of this, because I just find it so devastating, I'm worried for all of the people who spoke against Diddy, because as we know from that Kid Cudi thing, he's very retaliatory. I'd be terrified. I'd be getting all my security together. It worries me. It stresses me out.
It's really stressful. And then some of those people are not privileged enough to have access to security, right? So I'm quite scared for a lot of the people who spoke out.
And I remember there was one or two women who were on the stand and they mentioned like him threatening them in the past and them feeling threatened now. I fear what the consequences of this verdict is going to be going forward. I'm very disturbed. Here's my question for you, Sarah. Do you think he's going to have a career after this? What is that going to look like?
Right. I mean, like, Louis C.K. still has a career.
Yeah.
And it looks like just kind of courting men who are frustrated with feminism and frustrated. And it's like a backlash. It's just he's courting the feminist backlash. So I think he will. This might actually give him a career boost. Like, this might actually increase his profile and make him relevant with certain fans again who might have thought, like, I thought he was passé, but now that he's this symbol who stands in opposition to Me Too and feminism, I like him. Like, I think we should not underestimate the amount of men who are mad about Me Too and want to give their money to someone they consider as a symbol of, I guess, traditional masculinity, i.e. like sexual violence.
Yes, it's so upsetting, but I'm with you. I think he's going to have a career, and I'm disgusted to say that. And I hope a lot of you stand by standing against him and stay consistent, because it also, I look back at the Chris Brown situation, because that was also a situation where we had another like American sweetheart, even bigger American sweetheart, Rihanna, and we had evidence. I will never forget the photo of her beaten up face.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah, and he's still touring, still making music. He's doing just fine. So I fear we're going to see something similar, even though, again, Diddy is about 10 times worse, but he was also 10 times bigger. You know who I'm curious for on a lighter note? What 50 Cent's take is. 50 Cent has been very verbally anti-Diddy this whole period, constantly saying, I knew it. He's been implying stuff for a long time. He even funded a documentary series exposing Diddy. So I'm curious what his take
50
is.
One of the few good men.
Yeah, can you believe
50
it?
Cent, Stedman Grant, Alex Ohanian, the three good straight guys. Like, those are my three good straight men.
That's our trio. Who would have thought? I love it. Okay, we got tons to talk about. Let's take a quick break. We're going to be right back.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
And we're back. Okay, I got a little lighter news for you, Sarah, finally. Kind of. Depends on which way you swing for this one. But Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry have reportedly split after almost a decade together and a child and a very long engagement. This week, Orlando made some IG posts talking about the difficulty of loneliness and how hard it is. Poor thing. This comes after more disappointing music and touring from Katy and her stint in space. Shall we not forget, please? Which now a friend of mine was texting me and saying, do you think that's because she was just feeling down about her breakup, so she went to space? Which made me chuckle. Sarah, do you think these two were ever a worthy match?
They ever talked about?
Yeah, I don't either.
Katy Perry doesn't have coherent taste in men. She's bad taste in men.
She does.
That's the theme, right? I mean, Russell Brand, not
John
at all
Mayer.
like Orlando. Yeah, exactly. So there's no rhyme or reason. It almost feels like she has a bad breakup and then she reacts by trying to find a guy who's like the exact opposite of the last guy.
Yeah.
Which actually a lot of us have done that.
I
Like a lot
know.
of us like don't really have a type, and that's what we do.
Yeah, and listen, I've got very horrific taste, so I've always related to her in that sense. But you know what? Here's my other thing, though. 10 years? That's a long time. They almost made 10 years, and they have a child together. I feel like that's actually a success. I don't think that's a failure.
In Hollywood, it is. And you know
Yeah.
what? Some people say that the long engagement was the sign that it wasn't going to work
Yeah.
out. So many people get engaged and then never get around to getting married. So I don't think that was the proof that they weren't into it. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's just that they never had much in common. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's who I want to fix her up with. And I said
Please.
this like before she got together with Orlando
Hit
Bloom.
me.
And I mean it now. I think she and Ben Affleck would be good together.
Ooh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. And as you know, I enjoy some Ben Affleck. I would like to see this. As we know, he loves a strong woman. He knows how to support a woman in music. Not that Katy's excelling there, but anyway.
No, they're both
But-
kind of basic though in terms of their taste, right? Like I feel
Yeah,
like
that's true.
she would go to Dunkin' with him and be happy. Like she wouldn't be like, okay, I have to do this to make you happy. She'd be like, I want to go to Dunkin' too, right? Like I think that they're compatible and I believe they could make each other happy. So if you're listening to this, Ben, call up Katy Perry. I think he might be the one for you.
I'm obsessed with this idea, especially because I can't quite imagine her with really anyone. I don't know who I would pair her up with. But yeah, I actually am really enjoying the suggestions there. What about Orlando? Who do we pair him up with?
That's an interesting question. Like, who do we pair Orlando up? And
You know-
I've never found him sexy, but who do you think you should be with?
I didn't either. I mean, he's very pretty, but
Yeah.
he's never really been my type. But I would love to see him with, and I know, God knows, she's our favorite gal, but like a Kaylee Cuoco type. Or
But she's with someone.
I know. Or like a Kate Hudson type who is also with
Kate
someone.
Hudson, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that type. Like a bubbly blonde. That's what I see for him.
Well, what about like is Mindy Kaling single?
That would be so
That would be fun. I feel like that would be,
That would be so cute.
Yeah, I believe based on my research from a couple weeks ago, I believe she is single. Honestly, they could start. Here's what I'm going to do. I think she should write a rom-com where they're the two leads. They can fall in love on set and have a beautiful blended family.
I love that. Or just cast him in the next season of Running Point, which I think is a great way. And he would fit right in. He could even romance Kate Hudson so then I get what I want. It's perfect.
Yeah, everyone gets what they want. Everyone gets what they want.
Genius.
Let's use him as like Orlando Bloom's not particularly talented. He's not particularly charming. he's born to be eye candy for like a super successful woman. Like, let's have him embrace this next stage of life, this inevitable pivot.
I love
And
it.
have him just, because he kind of was just Katy Perry's eye candy. Like, he hasn't been doing anything super relevant for a while. And neither was she. Like, she wasn't at the top of her game, but she definitely was doing better than he was career-wise.
Yeah.
So let's have him just sort of like now move on to Mindy Kaling, who is super successful. And I feel like would really love having eye candy. I feel like she would just use him as a great prop.
So that's a great idea. They would also make gorgeous babies. All I will say to cap this off, and I will link to this in the show notes, but when I think of Orlando and Katy and Sarah, I'm sure you remember this too, is when they met. There are these really infamous photos of them meeting on the night of the Golden Globe Awards. They both looked gorgeous because they were both dressed up. And he looks so smitten just looking at her. Like, he never once looks away from her. The photos are unreal. And then the news dropped basically the next day that they went home together. And now all these years later, you know. But I love that kind of thing, you know, even though it didn't work out in the end. God, was it a sexy get together in the beginning.
A lot of people done that, like done the one night stand that turns into just a decade of being together. And like, maybe it shouldn't have turned into a decade of being together. Maybe it should have just been the one night, but
that is the energy Orlando gives, you know, one night and you're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see him romancing someone, and I don't want this, but I could definitely see him just going back to models and romancing someone like Emily Ratajkowski, right? Because he also has a history with models too, which is fine. I'm not trying to denigrate models at all. I just wanted to see him branch out. And Emily Ratajkowski is not just a model, and I don't.
No, and I like Emily.
I like her too.
Yeah,
for sure. I like her too. Although she might be a little bit out of his league too. As is Mindy, but Mindy I feel like would be okay with having someone who's just there for eye candy. I feel like she's fine with that.
Yeah, and I feel like we know a little bit more about Mindy in that way. I think she loved the fantasy of it all. She might have even had his photo on her, you know, locker, her bedroom wall, like a lot of us did. Like, she's that girl. I love that for her. We just love our fantasy here. And yeah, I want to see him branch out. Come on, give it to us.
Oh, okay. So now I've written, this is fan fiction I'm writing. Okay, so Mindy and Orlando work together. They fall in love. They get engaged. Then BJ gets jealous and finally declares his love for Mindy. He ran to her house, says, I'm finally ready to acknowledge that you're the love of my life and that your children are in fact mine. And then they get married.
That makes me so mad. I don't want him to be able to get her in the end. She's going to say, no, you're too late. You're just jealous.
Fine. You're right.
And she sticks with Orlando. No. And then she has a beautiful baby with him. Get out of here, BJ, you bastard. But also, I did enjoy that. Sarah, 5 years ago, I would have lived for that fantasy.
Okay, you're right. She should just end up with Orlando, and then he can just be her trophy husband.
Young women, like, we don't want that for Mindy.
No, we want her to have a trophy husband who knows his place, and I think Orlando can do that. I think he can speak when spoken to, and just like, you know.
Oh, I love that. He's such a trophy husband, and Mindy does need a trophy husband, doesn't she? I love that. That's delicious. You know what? I want that. And then I want Katy to just date around for a while and just have us wondering who she's with. I think that could be fun for her. She still looks great. Her music is terrible. I'm so sorry, girl. But like, you look good though.
The appeal was never the music. Like, I don't think any man fell in love with her for her music.
I know. She had that one great album. I still dream of her giving us another, but I don't know that it'll ever happen. Alas.
Yeah, I agree. And anyway, she's now basically, as many people pointed out, a glorified children's performer. So,
ouch. Okay, on that note, that's perfect. Let's discuss the wedding of the year between Amazon head honcho Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, who also incidentally recently went to space with Katy Perry. How about that? Now, it was allegedly a $50 million celebration over multiple days in Venice, which sounds like an Indian wedding. Love that. And included the following guests. Okay, sir, this is quite a list. Sit down. She's sitting down. Okay. Sydney Sweeney, Mick Jagger, Oprah, our girl Oprah, Leo DiCaprio, Jerry Seinfeld, Orlando, because he's single now. He needs this. Bill Gates, the Kardashians. The list goes endlessly on. Now, of course, much of the internet has turned on some of these people because they're like, what are you doing at Bezos, the enemy's wedding? And I certainly side-eyed like Sydney Sweeney. I was just like, what? Oprah, I'm disappointed in you. For the others, I wasn't totally shocked. But Sarah, how are you feeling about this guest list?
They don't know these people, right? That's the weird thing. They're not like calling her up and inviting her to drinks at wherever rich people have drinks. You know, I'm assuming like the Ritz or something. It's probably a hotel chain I don't know about because I'm not rich enough to. So it's very weird. My biggest complaint about this $50 million wedding is if you're going to spend $50 million on something, it should be nice. And this is not nice, right?
It's a bit gaudy. I liked her dress, though, I will say.
I didn't mind it. A lot of people hated it. And I think that was just people being angry about the wedding and then projecting onto the dress. The dress, what I didn't love about it is if you zoom in on the lace feels cheap. And it, these are very rich people. Like, I feel like Dolce & Gabbana kind of phoned in the lace. Like, maybe they hated working with her. Maybe they just were like, this is their way of being secretly subversive. I don't know. Or maybe they're just not good at lace. I felt like if up close, it didn't rise to the level of like, if you look at like Kate Middleton's Alexander McQueen wedding dress, the lace detailing there is stunning, right? And you'd think that while Kate obviously has more prestige because she's a princess, they don't have more money, but it shows you that like sometimes prestige can get you farther than money because people want to do their best work for you for some people, and then they might not be as inspired by other people.
Well, Sarah, you can't buy taste. And I feel like these two really define that. They really highly lack the sophistication of a Kate Middleton or really many folks. And yeah, I'm with you. A lot of these people, they don't actually know this couple. It came out, Sydney Sweeney was probably getting most of the heat this week when it came out that she was at the wedding. There's tons of photos of her there. And then I think probably her team, her publicist, planted some story that actually she's there because she's doing an Amazon movie. I'm like, okay, that's not actually a strong enough excuse for me. Sorry.
Are they worried they're going to cancel the movie and like she can do another movie? That's the thing. Like, she's big enough now that I actually don't think that that's an excuse for her, right? Like, there's some actors, if you're like on the cusp and you need this to work, where I'm like, okay, whatever. If you were summoned to this wedding, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, Jerry Seinfeld, I mean, I guess he is also kind of
not shocking.
Not shocking.
Bill Gates, not shocking. Kardashian's not shocking. And Oprah, if we're really honest with ourselves, is also not shocking. It's just unfortunate because I feel like at this point in time, especially, these people know how they're coming off. Like, surely you must know what it's going to look like when you go to this wedding. At the same time, though, I think of all of the women who decided to go on that space flight. Like, surely they also knew how, like, their publicist must have told them this is how this is going to go, but they felt they needed to do it anyway. I find it so strange. It's like we're in some kind of alternate reality, but also eat the rich. Like, fuck them all, quite frankly. They're all the same in this sense. They really are. And this is more like a networking event than anything, sure, but still disappointed. Then we had someone like Charlize Theron who went on Watch What Happens Live this week, and she was shitting on all of these people. And she was like, why would you go to that wedding? Fuck that wedding. And how terrible to make that choice. So I'm like, I support Charlize.
She's
Good
cool.
for you.
Like, Charlize Theron is one of those people who actually has like that rock star cool energy.
Yeah. Integrity.
Yes, she's very cool. I mean, honestly, even though she's gotten many accolades, in some ways I think she's an undersung actress. She's even more talented. She's so versatile. She can do anything. She can headline an action movie. She can do Tully. Like, there really isn't anything she can't do. And I don't know if we appreciate just how talented she is.
No, she's also very hot and is struggling to find love, which she was talking about on Watch What Happens Live. And that breaks my heart. I would marry you, Charlize. I'd do anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know why she's struggling to find. Are people just intimidated by her? I'm assuming that's what it is.
I also feel like, let's be real, men are terrible these days, and she is Charlize. She should have standards. But if even Charlize is struggling, my God.
Well, like,
God.
Yeah, who is at her level?
Orlando
I'm
Bloom?
struggling to think.
Orlando Bloom?
No.
She would eat him alive.
No. One thing I have to say for Lauren Sanchez that, in a weird way, I do respect is this woman has made an art out of marrying rich. And like, get it, girl. Like,
that's
her
true.
First husband was a co-founder of the talent agency Endeavor. And then, and that's already making you super, super rich. And then she had an affair with Bezos and found a way to upgrade. She was already incredibly wealthy and then found a way to land an even richer man. And she did it in her 50s. And in our ageist society, we always imagine the other woman is going to be way younger. And she wasn't. So in some ways, this is groundbreaking. And she should write a book telling all women how to marry rich, because in a society where it is very hard for women to make huge amounts of money, I don't think it's ethically wrong to marry rich, right? If you want to marry someone for their money, fine.
No.
So I just want her to share the secrets to empower other ladies. And the fact that she hasn't, I think, makes her a really bad feminist. So that's why I'm not her fan.
I love the screed. I completely co-sign. Listen, Sarah and I love a gold digger. We're always going to support gold diggers. I don't know that she considers herself one, but we see you, Lauren. We see you and we appreciate this.
We see the pattern. Your type is basically just rich. And that's fine. That is fine. Like, you get it. You choose money over looks. Like, we know you didn't marry Jeff for his looks.
God,
like,
no.
We know
dear
that.
God.
And probably not for his generous heart either.
God, no. But P.S., Lauren, if you want to pull a move like Bezos' ex, just donate some of that money. And you're already going to rise in the ranks, okay? That makes you look better instantly. God knows you've got enough dollars to spare.
Exactly. Well, you know, Mackenzie Scott is an interesting character because she has become very philanthropic post-divorce, and I'll credit her as the co-founder of Amazon. The coverage of their divorce was very sexist, incredibly sexist on many levels. And also it was sexist towards Lauren too, because she was presented as the other woman. It was sexist on so many levels. The only person who I felt like you could really tell that white male privilege is real, because it was not centered on Bezos. All of his criticism and right, he kind of got off scot-free, is now having his gaudy wedding after cheating with his wife and co-founder. And then Lauren Sanchez changed her name at 55. Like, you have been Lauren Sanchez your whole life, and at 55 you change your name. What is the point?
What is the point? I always wonder about that too. Also, Lauren Sanchez sounds perfect. I don't know. I don't get it.
What is it? What is it?
Anyway.
Like, and she didn't change her name with her first marriage, which is an important detail.
True.
So is it just like, you know, you marry a rich guy, you keep your name. You marry a billionaire, you change your name? Like, is that
Maybe
the rule,
it was an
Lauren?
agreement. Maybe it was a contract. You change your name, I'll give you another $1 million. Who knows?
I mean, he has so much money. I want $1 billion. Yeah. Give me $1 billion. I'll change my name for $1 billion.
I'll do it for
$1 billion. That's fine. I can be bought.
I'll hyphenate for at least $500 million.
Is it like on The Good Wife? Because anytime they do, like, they had a character who's very similar to Bezos, who is a tech billionaire. And at one point they're negotiating his prenup. And I'm wondering if, like, that was a literal negotiation. Like, she had lawyers, he had lawyers.
Oh,
and they're
I
like,
think it had to be. I feel like it definitely was.
Yeah,
and that
we
is
want a
content
name
I
change.
want. You know, Ryan Murphy, listen up. That's what I want to see. I want to see all those details that go into a marriage with a billionaire and a gold digger. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, Lauren, if this is just a long con and you're going to divorce him, take half his money and then give it to charity, I stan. I don't think that's what it is, but like, there is a world in which she becomes my hero.
There is a world, and I hope we get to see that day, Sarah. And that's this week's episode. Thank you to all our wonderful listeners. You can listen to The Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hear more from me, you could find me at _StuffSound on Twitter. Sarah, where can our listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on Instagram at Sahigian Sarah. And if you liked this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe so other listeners can find us too. And if you'd like us to keep growing, we'd love for you to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/thereheat, where we've got some goods in store for you. Thanks for listening.